Thank you for joining. I hope you are having a good night. Before you sit back and relax, please like and subscribe. Now please sit back and relax and enjoy this history of Atlantis. Enjoy and always remember to love each other, and most importantly, love yourself. The myth of Atlantis, exploring its origins and civilizations. The myth of Atlantis, a legendary island said to have sunk into the ocean, has fascinated historians, archaeologists, and enthusiasts for centuries. The story of Atlantis originates from the ancient Greek philosopher Plato, who detailed the island's existence in his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. Despite numerous theories and speculations, the question of which civilization created and occupied Atlantis remains a topic of debate. This summary explores the myth of Atlantis, its potential origins, and the civilizations that have been proposed as candidates for the fabled island. Plato's account of Atlantis. Plato's dialogues. The primary source of the Atlantis myth comes from Plato's works Timaeus and Critias, written around 360 BCE. According to Plato, Atlantis was a powerful and advanced civilization that existed about 9,000 years before his time. It was situated beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which are commonly identified with the Strait of Gibraltar. In these dialogues, Plato describes Atlantis as a large island with a series of concentric rings of water and land, featuring advanced engineering, impressive architecture, and a powerful navy. The fall of Atlantis. Plato's account details the moral and spiritual decline of the Atlanteans, who became corrupt and greedy. As a result of their hubris, they attempted to conquer the known world. Their military ambitions led them to conflict with the city of Athens, which Plato describes as a virtuous and powerful state. Eventually, the gods punished Atlantis for its arrogance and immorality, causing the island to sink into the ocean in a single day and night of misfortune. Theories on the origins of Atlantis. Historical interpretations. Historians and scholars have proposed various interpretations of the Atlantis myth, ranging from a purely fictional allegory to a distorted memory of real historical events. Some believe that Plato created Atlantis as a moral lesson to illustrate the dangers of hubris and the importance of virtue. Others suggest that the story may be based on real civilizations or natural disasters that were known to ancient Greeks. One of the most compelling theories links Atlantis to the Minoan civilization, which thrived on the island of Crete and other Aegean islands around 1450 BC. The Minoans were known for their advanced architecture, sophisticated art, and extensive trade networks. The eruption of the Thera volcano, modern-day Santorini, around 1600s BCE caused widespread destruction and a massive tsunami, which devastated the Minoan settlements. This catastrophic event could have inspired the story of Atlantis, as it would have been remembered as a significant and tragic event in ancient times. The eruption of Thera was one of the most powerful volcanic events in recorded history. It not only caused immediate destruction, but also had long-lasting effects on the climate and the surrounding regions. The tsunami generated by the eruption would have wreaked havoc on coastal settlements across the Aegean Sea, potentially influencing the myth of a lost, advanced civilization swallowed by the sea. Potential candidates for Atlantis. Several ancient civilizations have been proposed as potential candidates for Atlantis. These include the Minoans. As previously mentioned, the Minoan civilization on Crete and the nearby islands is a strong candidate due to their advanced culture and the catastrophic Thera eruption. The Mycenaeans. The Mycenaean civilization, which succeeded the Minoans and flourished in mainland Greece and the Aegean islands, has also been suggested. Their culture shared similarities with the Minoans, and they experienced a decline around the same time period. The Egyptians. Some theories propose that the ancient Egyptians could have had contact with a civilization like Atlantis. The Egyptians were known for their advanced engineering and long-lasting empire, and they maintained extensive records that sometimes allude to distant lands. Hypothetical locations. Various locations have been proposed as the possible site of Atlantis, each with its supporting arguments. Santorini, Thera. The island of Santorini is a leading candidate due to the massive volcanic eruption that devastated the region. The advanced Minoan civilization on Crete, affected by this eruption, fits many descriptions of Atlantis. The Azores. Located in the mid-Atlantic, the Azores Islands have been suggested due to their position and some underwater archaeological findings that some believe could be remnants of an ancient civilization. Southern Spain, the region around Cadiz near the Strait of Gibraltar, has been proposed as a possible location. Some researchers suggest that ancient settlements in this area could align with descriptions of Atlantis. The Caribbean. Some theories place Atlantis in the Caribbean, proposing that underwater structures like the Bimini Road in the Bahamas could be remnants of the lost civilization. Antarctica. A more speculative theory suggests that Atlantis could be buried under the ice of Antarctica, based on ancient maps and climate change evidence indicating that the continent was once ice-free. The myth of Atlantis has had a lasting impact on literature, art, and popular culture. It has inspired countless books, movies, and artworks that explore themes of lost civilizations, advanced ancient technologies, and catastrophic disasters. Notable examples include Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, where Captain Nemo searches for Atlantis, and the Disney animated film Atlantis, The Lost Empire. The story of Atlantis has also fueled pseudo-archaeological theories and speculative research. Some enthusiasts have dedicated their lives to finding evidence of Atlantis, often drawing on fringe theories and unverified claims. While mainstream archaeology remains skeptical of these efforts, the enduring fascination with Atlantis demonstrates its powerful allure. Despite the mythological nature of the story, scientific exploration continues to investigate the possible historical and geological events that could have inspired the Atlantis myth. Marine archaeology, volcanology, and geological studies of ancient seismic activity contribute to our understanding of how real events might be reflected in ancient myths. The myth of Atlantis, as detailed by Plato, continues to captivate imaginations and spark debates about the origins and occupants of this legendary island. While various theories propose different ancient civilizations and locations as candidates for Atlantis, no definitive evidence has been found to confirm its existence. Whether viewed as a moral allegory, a memory of real historical events, or a mystery waiting to be solved, the story of Atlantis remains a powerful symbol of human curiosity, the search for lost knowledge, and the allure of a once great civilization that vanished beneath the waves. As new archaeological discoveries and scientific advancements emerge, the quest to uncover the truth behind the myth of Atlantis continues, keeping its legacy alive in the modern era. The speculated geographic location of Atlantis has been a topic of fascination and debate for centuries, ever since the ancient Greek philosopher Plato first described the legendary island in his dialogues. Timaeus and Critias, around 360 BC. According to Plato, Atlantis was a powerful and advanced civilization that existed about 9,000 years before his time and was situated beyond the Pillars of Hercules, commonly identified with the Strait of Gibraltar. The story of Atlantis, as recounted by Plato, tells of a large island with a series of concentric rings of water and land, featuring advanced engineering, impressive architecture, and a powerful navy. Eventually, the gods punished Atlantis for its moral and spiritual decline, causing the island to sink into the ocean in a single day and night of misfortune. This dramatic narrative has led to numerous theories and speculations about the actual location of Atlantis. One of the most compelling theories links Atlantis to the Minoan civilization, which thrived on the island of Crete and other Aegean islands around 1450 BCE. The Minoans were known for their advanced architecture, sophisticated art, and extensive trade networks. The eruption of the Thera volcano, modern-day Santorini, around 1600s BCE caused widespread destruction and a massive tsunami that devastated the Minoan settlements. This catastrophic event could have inspired the story of Atlantis, as it would have been remembered as a significant and tragic event in ancient times. The Minoan civilization fits many descriptions of Atlantis, including its advanced technology and sudden downfall due to a natural disaster. Another popular theory places Atlantis in the region of southern Spain, near the modern city of Cadiz. This area, close to the Strait of Gibraltar, aligns with Plato's description of Atlantis being located beyond the Pillars of Hercules. In 1922, German researcher Adolf Schulten proposed that the ancient city of Tartessos, located in this region, could be Atlantis. Tartessos was a wealthy and powerful trading civilization mentioned in Greek and Roman sources. The marshlands of Donana National Park have been suggested as a potential site for Tartessos, and by extension Atlantis. In recent years, some researchers have used satellite imagery and ground-penetrating radar to investigate this area, uncovering circular and rectangular structures that they believe could be remnants of the lost civilization. The Azores Islands, located in the mid-Atlantic, have also been proposed as the possible site of Atlantis. This theory is based on the island's position and some underwater archaeological findings that some believe could be remnants of an ancient civilization. The Azores are situated along the mid-Atlantic ridge, a tectonic plate boundary that could potentially have experienced significant geological activity. Proponents of this theory suggest that the islands are the peaks of Atlantis's mountain ranges, which remain above water after the rest of the islands sank. Some theories place Atlantis in the Caribbean, proposing that underwater structures like the Bimini Road in the Bahamas could be remnants of the lost civilization. The Bimini Road is a series of underwater stone formations discovered in the 1960s, which some believe to be the remains of an ancient road or wall. This theory gained popularity with the prophecies of Edgar Cayce, a self-proclaimed psychic who predicted that evidence of Atlantis would be found near Bimini in the 1960s. However, mainstream archaeologists argue that the Bimini Road is a natural formation, and there is no concrete evidence linking it to Atlantis. Another speculative theory suggests that Atlantis could be buried under the ice of Antarctica. This idea is based on ancient maps and climate change evidence indicating that the continent was once ice-free. The Piri Reis map, a 16th century world map created by the Ottoman admiral and cartographer Piri Reis, shows part of the Antarctic coast as ice-free, which some interpret as evidence that the continent was mapped before it was covered in ice. Proponents of this theory argue that a civilization like Atlantis could have existed on Antarctica when it had a more temperate climate, but was subsequently buried under ice due to dramatic climate shifts. The Canary Islands, located off the northwest coast of Africa, have also been suggested as a possible location for Atlantis. These islands are geographically situated near the Pillars of Hercules and could fit the description of a large island or group of islands. Ancient legends from the indigenous Guanche people of the Canary Islands speak of a lost land, which some researchers believe could be related to the Atlantis myth. Some researchers have proposed that Atlantis was not a single location, but rather a collection of different places that inspired the legend. According to this theory, the story of Atlantis could be a composite of various ancient cultures and events, woven together into a single narrative by Plato. This would explain why elements of the Atlantis myth seem to resonate with different historical and geographical contexts around the world. Despite the numerous theories and speculations, there is no definitive evidence to confirm the existence or precise location of Atlantis. The story remains one of the greatest mysteries and enduring legends of antiquity. The fascination with Atlantis continues to inspire exploration, research, and imagination, as modern science and archaeology strive to uncover clues that could solve this ancient puzzle. Whether viewed as a moral allegory, a memory of real historical events, or a mystery waiting to be solved, the story of Atlantis remains a powerful symbol of human curiosity, the search for lost knowledge, and the allure of a once great civilization that vanished beneath the waves. The quest to uncover the truth behind the myth of Atlantis endures, keeping its legacy alive in the modern era and inspiring future generations to explore the depths of our history and the mysteries of our world. The myth of Atlantis, a legendary island described by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias, has fascinated scholars, historians, and enthusiasts for centuries. According to Plato, Atlantis was a powerful and advanced civilization that existed about 9,000 years before his time. It was situated beyond the Pillars of Hercules, commonly identified with the Strait of Gibraltar. The story of Atlantis tells of a large island with a series of concentric rings of water and land, featuring advanced engineering, impressive architecture, and a powerful navy. Ultimately, the gods punished Atlantis for its moral and spiritual decline, causing the island to sink into the ocean in a single day and night of misfortune. This narrative has sparked numerous theories and speculations about the actual location and nature of Atlantis. One particularly intriguing and controversial theory links the myth of Atlantis with the Anunnaki, a group of deities from ancient Mesopotamian mythology. The Anunnaki are a group of gods mentioned in the mythology of the ancient Sumerians, Akkadians, Assyrians, and Babylonians. These deities are often depicted as powerful beings who played significant roles in the creation of the world and human civilization. According to Mesopotamian mythology, the Anunnaki were responsible for various aspects of life, including agriculture, fertility, and justice. They were believed to reside in the heavens, the earth, and the underworld, exerting their influence over human affairs. The mythology of the Anunnaki is complex and multifaceted, with different texts and traditions offering varying accounts of their origins, roles, and interactions with humanity. One of the most famous accounts of the Anunnaki comes from the ancient Sumerian text known as the Epic of Gilgamesh. In this epic, the Anunnaki are described as powerful gods who decreed the destinies of humanity. The story of Gilgamesh, a legendary king of Uruk, involves interactions with the gods, including the Anunnaki, and explores themes of mortality, power, and the search for eternal life. The Anunnaki also appear in other Mesopotamian texts, such as the Enuma Elish, the Babylonian creation myth, where they play a role in the creation of the world and the establishment of order. The connection between the myth of Atlantis and the Anunnaki is a relatively modern development, emerging from the realm of pseudo-archaeology and speculative history. This theory gained popularity in the latter half of the 20th century, largely due to the works of authors like Zecharia Sitchin. Sitchin was an Azerbaijani-American author who wrote a series of books, beginning with The 12th Planet in 1976, in which he proposed that the Anunnaki were actually extraterrestrial beings from a planet called Nibiru. According to Sitchin, these extraterrestrials came to Earth around 450,000 years ago and played a crucial role in the development of human civilization. Sitchin's theory posits that the Anunnaki were responsible for creating the advanced technology and knowledge that ancient civilizations, such as the Sumerians, Egyptians, and possibly the inhabitants of Atlantis, possessed. He suggested that the Anunnaki genetically engineered humans to serve as a labor force to mine gold, which the Anunnaki needed to repair their home planet's atmosphere. This theory blends ancient mythology with modern science fiction, proposing that the gods of ancient myths were actually advanced extraterrestrial beings with the ability to travel through space and manipulate human genetics. According to proponents of this theory, Atlantis was one of the centers of Anunnaki activity on Earth. They argue that the advanced technology and engineering described in the myth of Atlantis are indicative of the influence and presence of the Anunnaki. The destruction of Atlantis, as described by Plato, is interpreted as a catastrophic event caused by either internal conflict among the Anunnaki or as a result of their departure from Earth. This interpretation suggests that the sinking of Atlantis was not a punishment from the gods, as Plato described, but rather a consequence of the advanced technology and experiments conducted by the Anunnaki. Supporters of the Anunnaki Atlantis theory often point to various pieces of evidence to support their claims. They cite ancient texts, archaeological findings, and enigmatic artifacts that they believe indicate the presence of advanced knowledge and technology in ancient times. For example, some proponents argue that the precision and complexity of ancient structures, such as the pyramids of Egypt and the megalithic sites in South America, cannot be explained by the capabilities of the civilizations that built them. They suggest that these structures were either directly built by the Anunnaki or constructed with their guidance and knowledge. Another piece of evidence often cited by proponents of this theory is the similarity between the myths and legends of different ancient cultures. They argue that many ancient civilizations, including the Sumerians, Egyptians, Greeks, and others, have stories of gods or beings who came from the heavens, bestowed knowledge upon humanity, and then departed or disappeared. These similarities are interpreted as evidence of a shared historical reality, where the Anunnaki played a significant role in shaping human civilization across different regions and periods. Critics of the Anunnaki Atlantis theory argue that it lacks credible evidence and relies heavily on speculative interpretations of ancient texts and artifacts. Mainstream historians and archaeologists maintain that the achievements of ancient civilizations can be explained through human ingenuity, innovation, and gradual development over time. They point out that the similarities between myths from different cultures can be attributed to common themes and archetypes in human storytelling, rather than evidence of a shared extraterrestrial influence. The story of Atlantis, as described by Plato, is generally regarded by scholars as